Today on America's Court with Judge Ross.
No, we're talking
Not
about...
for the Crown. No.
We're talking about income that was compromised.
So that amount is based on the income you lost?
Yes, absolutely.
You have proof of that?
I make a very meager living, Your Honor.
Well, $6,000 is not too bad.
The whole purpose behind law is to right wrong. I want justice to be something that isn't this foreign concept.
Justice knows no boundaries. The truth will be heard. Fair, firm, compassionate. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Sutter Zachman is suing his former dentist, Dr. Charisse Kofer, in the amount of $6,575. He says the defendant's shoddy work damaged his ability to sing.
All rise. Remain standing and come to order. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Kevin Ross presiding.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated.
All parties have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Deputy Thomas. Mr. Zachman, you had a bad experience at the dentist.
Sure did.
Now you are asking Dr. Kofer, is it? Kofer? Kofer, thank you. To pay $6,575.
That's right.
Prove your case, sir.
Well, Your Honor, I make a very meager living as a performing musician.
I see the guitar over there.
Yeah, as a practical matter, I need to perform to get paid.
Okay.
My ability to perform was severely compromised at the hands of Dr. Kofer and the ordeal I went through.
Was that your first experience with Dr. Kofer, or had you been...
Dr. Kofer and I have endured a relationship over 3 years.
3 years that he's been
Yes.
singing you? And what sort of work have you been doing? Just sort of routine maintenance things, or?
Routine, however, several times he had to have deep cleaning because of poor dental hygiene, despite repetitive warnings that further damage could happen.
You
to
sound
his
like my
teeth.
dentist telling me I got to floss every day.
Exactly.
Those sorts of things, huh?
And so those are issues we faced over the past 3 years, up
Okay.
until March.
All right. And so you hadn't had any problems?
No.
All right. And then there was a problem?
Well, in mid-March, I went in for a routine root canal.
Yes.
And 3 days later, I was eating some barbecue over at
you ate some
Handy's.
barbecue.
Yeah, it was delicious.
Now
And,
you're talking.
Your Honor, it was delicious until there was an explosion in the back of my mouth. My molar just started gushing blood.
Ooh. Would you hit a bone or something on the barbecue?
I must have.
And so is that the same molder that there had been the root canal done on? Or?
Well, that's why I'm here, because I feel that the operation was, the procedure was not done correctly, and it caused my tooth to explode.
Doctor?
Case in point, Your Honor, he waited 7 days after the explosion from his tooth. So the procedure itself went very well. It was a classic root canal, took 4 hours approximately, and he never called me until 7 days after the incident at the barbecue joint. And at that point, he came in. I said, I'm sorry you waited so long. I know you've been in pain. And we rebuilt him a crown. The first day, of course.
Did you wait 7 days?
Your Honor, during this time...
Did you wait 7 days?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
No,
During this
okay.
time...
Stop. If you're gushing blood, why would you wait 7 days?
Your Honor, this is a very hectic time in my life. I'm finishing up the last leg of a tour. I had to cancel 8 dates.
We could have gotten him in that day.
So were you still performing with your mouth like that?
No, Your Honor, I had to cancel 8 performances, and these are very important performances.
But he wouldn't have had to if he came in that day.
During the course of the 7 days, you had to have been in pain.
Absolutely. It's
Why
agonizing
didn't you
pain.
go see her?
Your Honor, eventually it occurred to me that I should probably get this fixed in order to finish up my tour.
So during the 7-day period, what were you doing?
Trying to recover.
See, that seems odd to me, that he wouldn't come in.
To me, too, because we could have gotten him in that day. People
So
call with dental emergencies all the time.
Did the damage become exacerbated because he
Oh,
waited?
of course. The nerve was exposed for 7 days.
Okay, so then, so you wait that period of time, you ultimately go back to see her,
Of course.
and then what happens?
Well, Your Honor, she was kind enough to offer retreatments to correct the disaster, but ultimately, monetarily, I lost, a big...
You lost some income.
Absolutely. She should have told me that I shouldn't have barbecue 3 days after his
and I
surgery.
have a signed form which I can present to the
It's
court.
a form.
Let me see that.
I don't have it with me, but I can get it for you. Sorry. I can get it
you
available.
bring the signed form that shows this is what we talked about?
I don't
this
know. The person I asked, so do I need to bring the records? They said, no, just have them available.
Anytime you come to court, because
I agree.
Otherwise, I'm just having to take your word for it.
Yes.
That does not work in your favor if I have to take your word for it, because I don't know you from Eve.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
How long have you been practicing, doctor?
11.5 years.
Okay. Have you ever had to go to court before?
No.
Okay.
Coming up on America's Court.
No, we're talking
Not
about...
for the Crown. No.
We're talking about income that was compromised.
So that amount is based on the income you lost?
Yes, absolutely.
You have proof of that?
I make a very meager living, Your Honor.
And later,
The dog was acting negligently by just running out into the highway. As the owner of the dog, the responsibility lies with you.
closed captioning provided by... This is America's Court with Judge Ross. We're back with the case of Sutter Zachman, who is suing Dr. Sharice Kofer for medical malpractice.
This $6,575 is for what? Because she didn't charge you additional monies,
No.
did she?
No, we're talking
Not for
about...
the Crown. No.
We're talking about income that was compromised.
So that amount is based on the income you lost?
Yes, absolutely.
You have proof of that?
I make a very meager living, Your Honor.
Well, $6,000 is not too bad. Let me see what you have to show proof of that.
You have any evidence?
Your Honor, I've got some evidence here.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and give you my EP as well, so you can listen to it.
Give you... plug, huh? Oh, it looks good.
Yeah, it's called
All
Repeat
right.
Offender.
It's called Repeat Offender. What is this here you show? You have the concert dates. Oh, L.A., San Diego, Phoenix, Vegas, Seattle, mostly on the West Coast. You missed all those dates.
These are my people on the West Coast. I missed out on my people.
Those are your peeps, huh?
These are my peeps.
And then we have, now this is for the actual root canal. You want Dr. Kofer, Dr. Kofer to pay you for the root canal even though she went back and did the work and she didn't charge you?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I don't understand why she should have to pay you for the root canal that you needed. So you expect it to be comped. Is that what pretty much happened?
Your Honor.
And I haven't heard anything that reflects, you know, she was negligent, she wasn't attentive to me, she, you know, was rude, she was late. I mean, I'm not hearing anything. All I'm hearing is she did the procedure, it was successful, you ate some barbecue. I don't know if it was a good idea to even eat barbecue after having an extensive root canal. Maybe more soft foods. And I'm sure that was one of the things that she said. So ultimately what I have to look at is, did she exercise a reasonable duty of care? The doctor here did everything that she could.
You know, I respect what she does. I think she's good at what she does. However...
Well, see, now we're not having a conversation anymore. I'm giving you my decision. Based on the evidence and the testimony before this court, the gavel will come down in favor of the defendant. Because I do think that you were culpable of not following the procedures. Always bring your evidence to court.
Yes, sir.
But there's nothing about her testimony, her credibility, that would lead me to conclude that she was in the wrong. Now, having said that, case closed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is denied.
It's a little disappointing. Probably won't see Dr. Kofer again.
I'm a great dentist. I was pleased with Judge Ross's decision.
Coming up on America's Court with Judge Ross.
The dog was acting negligently by just running out into the highway. As the owner of the dog, the responsibility lies with you.
Closed captioning provided by... This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Louis Vasquez is suing Beth Lee in the amount of $6,845.98. He says the defendant let her dog off its leash, resulting in damage to his car.
We're dealing with a pet that you lost, and I get that, Miss Lee. And at the same time, we're dealing with you being traumatized by the situation that you found yourself in.
Of course.
But you want her to pay for the damage to your vehicle.
Yes, sir.
All right, what happened?
My car is an 1867 Chevy Impala. It's a
Okay.
lowrider, to be exact.
A lowrider?
Yes, sir.
Do you drive that around all the time?
Yeah, I drive it. I cruise my car. I use it for daily activities. My wife uses it. My wife uses it to pick my child from school, so forth.
And then you are in your vehicle and something happens.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about it.
Okay, so I was driving in the highway, going 65 miles an hour. All of a sudden, this dog just comes out of nowhere.
What's the speed limit?
65.
You weren't going 65.
I was going 65, sir.
You weren't going 65. The speed limit was 65.
Yeah.
You don't have to embellish, just be honest. What were you going?
Okay, it was 68, 69.
Okay. See, that makes you more credible. Because I don't know of anyone that constantly is driving the exact speed all the time.
Right.
So you were driving somewhere
About
above
68, 69 miles per hour.
All right, that seems reasonable to me.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
So out of nowhere, this dog just runs into the highway. I hit the dog, and it actually damaged the inside, the exterior part of the car, actually the right side of the passenger.
And when you said the dog just came out of nowhere,
Well, yeah, I didn't have
because if you're driving, describe for me what the highway was like.
Well,
I mean, was it a residential? Were you out in the boonies?
it was like going towards. I was actually going from my hometown to New Mexico. It was a cross-country trip, just to check out.
You were driving alone, and you are from Texas, right?
Yes, sir.
What part of town? What Texas?
Fort Stockton, sir.
All right. So you were driving from Fort Stockton to New Mexico.
New Mexico.
What was going on?
Actually, there's a car show, a custom car show, custom-made car show.
Were you going to put your car?
Yeah, actually it was. Actually, we're there to compete, to exhibit my car, to just display the hydraulics and the new features that I've added to the car.
Now let me bring in you, Miss Lee. What were you doing on that road?
Well, I was
Do you live out there?
I was driving from Los Angeles to Austin to visit my grandma, and I brought my dog along for company.
Describe your dog.
My dog is a Dalmatian pit bull. His name is Caesar.
A Dalmatian pit bull.
Yes,
Do you have a picture?
I do.
Because I don't think I've ever seen the combination of a Dalmatian and a pit bull. What's the dog's name?
Caesar?
Caesar. That's a very interesting sort of combination of the two breeds. How long had you had Caesar?
I've had him for 7 years.
You had 7 years.
Yes.
And boy or girl?
Boy.
Okay. So Caesar was running on the highway. Where were you?
Well, we had pulled over to a rest stop, and I had noticed that there was an open field, so I let him. He's a really obedient dog, so I let him run free and get his energy out. And it was an open area, so I figured, and there were no cars, so I figured it'd be okay.
You're on a highway.
Well, we were at a rest stop on the side.
A rest stop typically is for other cars that are near highways.
Without a leash on.
What'd you say?
Without a leash. She just said that without a leash.
And Caesar was not on the leash.
No, he was not.
Any particular reason why?
Well, he's a really well-trained dog, and he's had no problem before being obedient.
Okay.
Coming up on America's Court.
You have to bring them back to the position that they were in prior to the negligence. The dog was acting negligently by just running out into the highway.
Closed captioning provided by This is America's Court with Judge Ross. We're back with the case of Luis Vasquez, who is suing Beth Lee for property damage.
So you know that cars are in close proximity. You would know that, correct?
Yes.
Caesar starts running, and if he is obedient, how did he end up on the highway?
He was chasing something. I don't know what it was, but right when I pulled into the rest stop, he bolted out of the car, and then this guy comes out of nowhere, and he doesn't even
That's
brake.
inconsistent with a dog that's obedient, that he bolted out the car. Typically, dogs need to be on leashes, right?
Yeah, but state law says that we don't need to keep the dog on a leash.
Texas state law says that.
Yes.
Now, I thought that was, where you all were, what county is that? I think it's Pecos, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, and Pecos says you don't have to have dogs on leashes. That's what you're referring to. But Texas law says if a dog causes damage, the owner is responsible. Doesn't it say that?
Yes.
It does. And when Caesar connected with the car, you killed the dog.
Yes, apparently so, sir. I feel really bad for the dog and for her too. You know, I saw the dog when it went inside when it damaged the car. When I basically killed the dog. I'm supposed to live with that. I don't know how, but I do feel real bad for that, sir. But yeah, let alone, you know, she should know better not to just let her dog run around and, you know, especially in a highway.
So here's what we have. We've got two people that are traumatized over their property. And I said property for a reason. Because as much as we love our dogs, and sometimes we see them as being human, they are property. So to the extent that you have this love and this connection and this relationship with your dog, the dog is property. So what I have is someone saying, oh my God, my property is destroyed. Mm-hmm. I've got someone saying, oh my God, my property is destroyed. And both people are reacting to that. What's the countersuit for?
It's for how much the dog cost.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're saying, not only am I not responsible to pay you $75,
right,
but you sustained damages on your vehicle.
Yes, sir.
To that extent?
That's correct.
You have
sir.
proof of that?
Yes, sir.
Show me.
I have evidence right here, sir.
You messed up the suspension on his axle, bar suspension, leaf spring, chain bridge, coil, the brake rotor. Boy, Caesar did some damage. Why don't you think that you're responsible for paying for the damage to his vehicle?
I mean, because he didn't even brake or swerve or anything.
Judge Ross's verdict when America's Court returns. You're watching America's Court with Judge Ross. This is America's Court with Judge Ross.
Based on the evidence and the testimony before this court, the gavel has to come down in favor of the plaintiff. But for that dog not approaching him unleashed, he would not have sustained that damage. And anytime someone's damaged, the way the tort law works is you have to make the person whole. You have to bring them back to the position that they were in prior to the negligence. The dog was acting negligently by just running out into the highway. As the owner of the dog, the responsibility lies with you. Now, having said that, you're okay with paying her $75.
Yeah, that's what I waste on groceries, sir. That's $75.
Yeah.
Sure.
So your judgment of $68.45.98 minus her $75. And if she didn't hear, I'm sorry, here's an opportunity to say it now.
Exactly.
Here's an opportunity.
I am sorry that your dog died, but next time you should be more careful.
Hey, you were doing so well. You were doing so well. That is your judgment, sir. Case closed.
Judge Ross has granted both the plaintiff's claim and the defendant's counterclaim.
I'm glad I got the money, but I wish I still had my dog.
I'm going to use that money to restore the car, but I'm really sorry that I killed the dog.
Follow America's Court on Facebook and Twitter. This has been a production of Entertainment Studios.